People are naturally wired for status, but people put their best foot forward.
What should we be worried about within ourselves or the people around us when it comes to money and opportunities? Should we be worried more about people's desire for power and greed, or people's envy, or what are the things that we should be concerned about, the emotions from the past that keep coming up today?
I think the most dangerous trait in money, whether it's saving or investing, is FOMO, fear of missing out. It's if you are susceptible to watching your neighbors or your friends or your coworkers get rich, and that just makes you boil with envy. And even if it doesn't feel like envy, you see it and you say, I need that as well. That is so dangerous for two reasons. One, if you watch someone getting rich fast, there's a very good chance that it's not sustainable, that there's going to be a reversion to the mean, and your friend who made 10,000% in Bitcoin, you're not going to be able to repeat that. Right. So if you chase that after the fact, like, you're in trouble.
You're going to lose it.
The second thing is how fake is probably the wrong word, because I think it's innocent, but people put their best foot forward. So what they are showing you is usually not indicative of what it is. In college, I was a valet here in Los Angeles, and it always stunned me that when people would come into the hotel I worked driving a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Bentley, when you get to know some of these people, some of them were actually not that successful. They were like a law firm associate who spent half their paycheck on a Porsche lease.
Wow.
And so when the fake it till you make it idea is so powerful in America that if you see, oh, that guy's driving a nice truck, I need to go get one too, because I'm just as smart as, I work just as hard as that guy. That's really dangerous, because you're not chasing their success, you're chasing their fakeness.
Why is that in so many of us, where people feel like they need to go in debt, overspend to try to impress the people that don't even care about them?
I think it's very true that people are naturally wired for status and not for happiness.
Really?
Your inner soul, like your evolution, does not want you to be happy, so to speak. It wants you to be successful.
Why is that?
Because that's what's going to gain the attention of potential spouses, male or female. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, it's a competition for resources.
Wow.
So that you can climb the ladder to gain the higher social status, to gain the better wife, the better husband, the better friends, whoever it might be. It's all a competition. And so that's why no matter how rich society gets, I think it'll never be like that. We'll never get rid of that.
Did you ever struggle with this?
I did, absolutely. I don't know if I struggled, but definitely when I was in my late teens and early 20s, I wanted to be the guy with the mansion and the Bentley and the yacht. I think every 19-year-old does. I think part of the reason is because when you're 19, at least for myself, I had no wisdom to impart. I had no knowledge. I had no skills to give an employer. I didn't know how to love a woman. I didn't know anything. So when you have nothing to offer the world, I think it's natural to be like, well, maybe they can look at my car and they'll admire me for that. I think as you get older, at least for me, it's been, I don't care if you like my car, but at least for some people, if there's wisdom I can impart, a skill that I can impart, communicate more effectively, I hope that the small people who I really want to love me respect me for that, and not because of the house I live in or the car that I drive.
Wow.
So I think when you're young and you don't have any of those skills to put forth, it's very natural to just say, like, I want the Bentley. It's all you have to offer the world.
Have you had any concerns internally where you saw this greed, envy, power struggle inside of you come out as you gained more fame, status, and money from your last few years with the books?
I think I've always, from a young age, been able to suppress that.
Really?
I don't think it's something that I learned, but I've always, since I was a kid, I've always been the kind of person who, it's like, when I was 10 years old, I had like 2 really good friends, but that was it. And as an adult, I feel like that too. I feel like the only people who I want, whose love I care about, is my wife, my kids, and my parents, and maybe like 2 friends.
And you don't need a big house to impress them.
No, because they love me for things that have nothing to do with the house. Right. They love me before the house.
If you're never around, they don't care about the big house.
And I think I've always been like that. But I think other people, it's not a character flaw, but their personality is, I need 100 people to love me.
Right.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that, but everyone's wired a little bit differently. But because my need for love is contained to 6 people or whatever,
wow.
I don't have this desire to go out and show off to any degree. I would say once in a while I'll get, what if we had that car? It looks like a nice car. One thing that I've done on occasion is when I'm traveling and I rent a car, most car companies, you can rent really nice cars. They have some cars parked in the back. And every time I do it, I'm like, oh, this will be fun. We're going to rent a Porsche now. I get it in and I'm like,
it's not comfortable.
It's not that big. And it's great to have that realization.
Yes.
To you don't need to dream about something that's great if you experience it. Now, I would say here that I don't want that comment to come off as like, oh, Morgan's a miser and he wants you to sleep in a burlap sack. Like, there are material things in life that can make you very happy, that I enjoy, that you will enjoy. There are people who are like, none of it matters, live in a studio apartment and drive an old Buick. And I'm like, no, that's not who I am. But I think you have to realize the limit of what it's actually going to do for your happiness.